right lid to the right pan, and it sounds like World War III digging them out of the cabinets. You got customized handles. You can hang them in the kitchen on a baker's rack or hanging rack with the open hook handles. Now when you're ready to cook, you just pull your pans out, and all you do is flip your lid. You just flip your lid. You wake up tomorrow, you get my jokes. If you notice the top's vent, so you don't have to do this. You ever get this, the dancing lid all afternoon that drives you crazy? And you can close that valve to keep the moisture and the heat in, like we're doing on the vegetables. Or if you're going to make a roast. Does anybody here like to do any roast at home? You ever do one? If you put them in the oven, it's about 350. If you're doing 5 pounds, it's going to take you 3 hours. You know, you can do them on top of the stove, and it's half the time and half the temperature. So you're not going to turn the oven on. I like to slow cook. Anybody here like slow cook? I love slow cook, but the biggest problem I found with slow cookers are they don't get hot enough to sear the meat. What we found is, with ours, it removes from the base. Now you can put it on the burner and sear your meat right in that one pan. And then when you're done searing it, you can drop it on the base and cook all day long. Kind of like what we're doing here today. See how the vent's closed? We're keeping that moisture in because we're doing a beef roast. Potatoes and carrots. Now, I didn't add any moisture to that pan. It just fills up. And you don't do anything. You just let it sit there on the base all day after you prep it. Now, yesterday I did a chipotle chili. Tomorrow I'm going to do corned beef and cabbage. But I'm going to cook it in a can of Guinness tomorrow. The Guinness will actually tenderize the meat. The alcohol burns off, but it's a really good way to tenderize your meat is in beer. And the nice thing is, you see these ridges right here? They're what they call self-basting rings. So as that roast is cooking all day, that moisture will drip down off of each ring and drip right on top of the meat so it doesn't dry out. So that's a self-basting ring. But the handles here are made out of that new material called silicone. Anybody seen the silicone oven mitts they make? These are oven safe to 450 degrees. They're dishwasher safe. They're soft to the touch. Notice there's no single screw anymore down the center of the handle. Remember, they always got loose, and I remember as a kid, we'd get a butter knife out and we'd tighten the handle down. They went to a 2-bolt system that doesn't come loose with no rivets or screws on the inside to collect food or bacteria. See, these are the little things that go a long way in the life of the pan. But the biggest feature you'll see is on the bottom of the pan. It's a 50-year warranty stamped into the product. So if anything happens to your pan, if it warps, if it buckles, if it bends, if it wears out, if it stains permanently, over the next 50 years, you're going to get a new one absolutely free, no questions asked. Look for the lion's head, look for the name Royal Prestige. You know you have the best set of cookware today on the market that your money can buy. How many people out here today so far are impressed by what they've seen up here today at the cooking show? Quite a few. How many people like to be cooking or eating on a new set of waterless pans? Come on, don't be shy. Everybody would, right? You know what I found is everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die. There's a price for everything. Would you believe me today if I told you that our cookware lines are not cheap? Yeah, remember shaking your head? Good. We got that out of the way. How many people here believe you get what you pay for? Is it getting harder and harder to come by nowadays? I'll tell you a story here. I was doing a demonstration the other day. I had a gentleman and his wife watch the demonstration. And the gentleman came up to me after the show. He was 84 years old. And he says, I'm impressed. And he says, give me everything. And I said, that's 35 pieces. I said, how many do you cook for? And he says, 2. I said, well, you don't have to get everything. I said, I'm going to give you some advice. I said, just get the top shelf. I said, that's everything you ever use. His wife stood up in the back row. She says, son, I'm going to give you some advice. She said, shut up. So after I wrote the order up, I sat down and talked with them. And she says, we've been married 63 years. And she told me, she says, I've done all the cooking. She says, I've never had a really good set of cookware working. She says, I deserve this. I didn't argue with her. You know, I had a young lady stop on my booth 2 years ago at the St. Louis Home Show, and she got a starter set on a layaway plan. So she was 19 years old, and she spread her payments out over 12 months. She was a full-time student at St. Louis University, and she was a part-time waitress. And she was going to take $32 a week and put it aside, put her pans in a hope chest. There's a term you don't hear much anymore. Ask a 19-year-old today what a hope chest is and see what kind of look you get on their face. You know, smart girl. The point of the stories are, whether you're 18 or 84 years old, good cookware is for everybody. You deserve it. We're entitled to it. We all deserve to cook and eat out nice things in our homes and our kitchens. But you know what I found over the years? Is that a lot of people have ended up in their homes with what I call the leftovers and the get-bys. And what I mean by get-bys is that we spend a little bit of money to get by, and then we spend it again. But we know in the long run that the good quality stuff is going to cost us a lot less. That's why the factory this year is going to give you a trade-in discount. Take your old pots and pans you got at home, put them in a box. We'll give you $100 to a $700 trade-in discount on your old pots. That's this year's show special. Now, do me a favor. I don't want to show up tomorrow and see a pile of old pots sitting on the end of my booth over here because I don't want them anymore. You give them to a charity. You take the tax write-off. I don't physically take them anymore. But what I will do for you, if you make a decision today on this show, and you get any set of cookware I got, even a small set, for the first couple people who get any set, I do have about 5 of these left. I think I have enough here for everybody on this show who gets a set. We'll give you a nice gift with your order. We'll give you something worth $300. Let's eat. How many people today would like to go home and take a skinless breast of chicken without a drop of oil and fry it perfectly golden brown? 300 calories, 6 grams of fat, crispy on the outside, juicy and tender on the inside. You know, if the doctors ever put you on a grease-free, salt-free, fat-free diet, if you got diabetes, diverticulitis, or you're into healthy cooking, this is one of the best ways to go. You know, it doesn't mean you have to cook this way. It just means you can. If you want to throw oil in these pans, you can do it that way. You can throw oil down there. I'm just showing you how to do it our way.
Wow.
How many people today in the audience do like to cook? How many cooks are there? A few of those. How many people like to eat? How many people after cooking and eating like to clean up? No takers, huh? Oh, we got one volunteer.
I love it. Yeah. Cleaners, no.
You're gonna make John happy there.
Oh, yeah?
The reason why I say that is because really nobody really likes to clean. And that's why most people eat out nowadays. And it's not because it's cheaper or it's healthier than nose touching our food. We eat out nowadays for the convenience. But what do we normally do at home to get something like this out of, like a chicken mess out of a pan?
Dishwasher.
Soak it or scrub it, right? If I can wipe that out today with a wet paper towel, would you be impressed?
Yeah.
Say yes.
Yep.
Don't go home and do this because you saw me do it up here today. Because what do they tell you to never do with a pan that's 400 degrees? Don't pour cold water. Most pans would warp, buckle, and bend, and they usually go this way. And what I mean by that is, anybody here cook on a flat range stove at home? You ever get that pan that'll go in a circle continuously because only one point is touching the burner? That's what I mean by warping. But what you'll find here today, and I think you'll like this, I'll show you guys first and then I'll show you. I'll just do the top part over here. Watch this after just about 10 seconds. So just a couple swipes. And you guys can see that mark right there, but look at this. This just takes a few seconds here. And it's not a magic set of cookware. You still need soap and you still need water to get this pan clean. But what I wanted to show you was just how easily it'll wipe out with the surgical steel. Let's take a look at the vegetables here today. You know, we took 5 vegetables, we threw them in a pan. We cooked them waterless, 6 minutes on the burner, about 6-7 minutes off. What's the first thing you notice?
It's clean.
Color. See, the color tells you everything you need to know. You didn't lose the flavor, the nutrients, the texture of the food. You ever boil or steam cabbage and it turns faded out gray or white and everything else in the pan turns purple or green? Look at the broccoli. It looks like it just went into the pan, not like it's coming out of there. And this way you're retaining up to 95% of the nutritional value of the food cooking this way. The corn on the cob is one of the feature attractions at the show over here because a lot of times we boil our corn on the cob in water. The natural corn syrup dissolves into the water and gets thrown down the drain. Once that sweetener's gone in the corn, what's the first thing people reach for to put on their corn?
Butter.
Butter and salt. What's the first 2 things a doctor usually tells us to cut back in our diets?
Cholesterol.
Oils, butters, and salts, right? You know, if you get a chance to taste the corn here today, you're going to find out how sweet corn is supposed to taste. My mom used to make stuffed peppers when I was a kid. 35 minutes it took her to do in the oven. And I remember they came out soggy. They were good, but they were a little soggy to them. If you do stuffed peppers in these pans, it doesn't take 35 minutes, it takes 15. And you'll cut them with a steak knife. They retain their texture to them. Now, if you've never had a chance to taste carrots that have been cooked waterless, you may not go back to eat them any other way today. You want to know the best part about the cookware? Ladies, you never have to yell at the husband or kids. When they get in the kitchen with a metal fork or knife and get into these pans, you're not going to hurt. There is a reason why we give you a 50-year warranty on the product. chicken, corn on the cob, broccoli, red cabbage, red pepper, a pound of carrots, a beautiful harvest salad for 6. Your pans are virtually wiped clean with paper towels, and you are now in and out of the kitchen in just under 15 minutes with cleanup. How about a big hand for that meal there today, guys?
Wow.
This is how I figure out who gets to eat first, by the way.
That's
Now, I'm
awesome.
going to cut up the chicken. We're going to let you guys taste the food. I'm going to let you taste the difference. John's going to hand out some fine silverware, wherever it went. There, you got it.
That's
And
amazing.
after the show, there is a lot of you today in the audience, and unfortunately, there's only one of me. So do me a favor, after the show, don't just come up and say how much is it, because I don't know how much you want me to eat. So what I'm going to do is this. If you want to see a factory brochure with all the specials on it, how many people, by show of hands, since we have a large audience, do want to see a price list when we're done? I know we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you guys could just stick in your chairs for a second. When everybody's done eating, feel free to come down over here.